What is absolutely good, fellas? I just want to say welcome to the channel. If you like the content, like, subscribe to the channel, man. I would highly appreciate it. And we are literally 2 days away, fellas. From the college football season, week 1. We got some good matchups, man. We got Notre Dame matchup. Prime time. We got Georgia, LSU. That will be a very good matchup as well, as I've noticed. So, we're about to get right into this thing. So, if week 0 last week of Georgia and Florida State, taught us anything really, it's that upsets are very real for any team in college football. Top 10, Florida State fell 24-21 to Georgia Tech in Dublin, in Ireland, getting the season off to a surprising start, to say the least. As week 1 officially gets kicked off in about 2 days, I'm going to take a look at upsets that have a real chance of happening. Some of these games include non-conference matchups, non-conference facing off against conference teams as well. So I really think this will be a good look. A few teams. So I'm gonna go ahead on under the radar. We got North Carolina and Minnesota is really an intriguing matchup, because the thing is, this is a pretty important season for the Tar Heels head coach Mack Brown, as his tenure dating back in 2019 has been a bit of a mixing bag, with a 38-27 record, including for straight bowl games in 3 seasons. Really, North Carolina, the thing is, made it to the ACC title game in 2021. The Tar Heels were 1-3 on the road last season, and Minnesota is 5-2, the home openers under PJ Fleck. So North Carolina and Minnesota is an intriguing one. And to get more into my bigger upsets, so we have North Dakota State. I have North Dakota State over Colorado. This is Thursday, 8 p.m. Tonight, actually. So, primetime, Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes are back in 2024. Sanders' team that got off to a hot 3-0 start last year, then stumbled to lose 8 of its last 9 games, is looking to rebound into this season in 2024. So, the Buffaloes open 2024 at home, and they get an interesting matchup in North Dakota State, which has been an FCS powerhouse for most of the last decade. So, the Bison have won 9 FCS national titles, so dating back to 2011, and now have a 23-7 record over the last 2 seasons. Their new head coach would love to start his tenure with a road upset over the Buffaloes. So this is a very interesting game, to say the least, tonight. As for Colorado, Sanders did a solid job addressing the glaring issues that they had in the trenches last year. Colorado landed transfer portal products like defensive lineman Samuel and Quincy Wiggins, so I think that's a really good look. They had offensive line additions like Tyler Johnson and Justin Mayers, and 5-star recruit Jordan Seaton should help returning quarterback Sanders avoid sacks, as that offensive line was absolutely, horrendous. Also returning for the Colorado offensively is star receiver / cornerback Travis Hunter. Hunter really finished with 721 yards receiving, and he had 5 touchdowns, averaging 12.6 yards after the catch. So Sanders will have new weapons like transfer receiver Will Shepard, and tight end Shimon Matier. I think that's his name. So it should be very interesting to say the least. So this should be an interesting quarterback battle in Boulder too. North Carolina signal caller, Cam Miller for North Dakota State is coming off one of the most productive seasons yet. Last season he had 2,688 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions. So he's going to be doing his thing. He rushed for about 630 yards and 13 scores too. Sure, a FCS powerhouse like them upsetting a team coming off a losing season doesn't sound terrible, but it would create even more pressure for Sanders to win a critical 2024 campaign. So I really think they have a chance to go off Colorado after they lost 8 of their 9 last games. So we will just have to see in time. And at noon on Saturday, we got West Virginia over, let's just say, Penn State, which is a true upset possibility. It's a bit surprising that Penn State is such a heavy favorite, but I really think West Virginia has a chance, in week 1, returning like almost 70% of their returning production from a 10-win team last year. So that's a really good look when we're looking at that aspect. But this is a game against West Virginia. Should be a great one, though. The Mountaineers finished 9-4 last season and get plenty of starters back on offense from last season. Starting quarterback, Garrett Green, running back. They had Jaheim White and receiver. Who was their receiver? I think it was Hudson Clement. So all return for West Virginia as the offense ranks 12th in returning production. So I really like that aspect when you're looking at overall team returning back on a 10-win season, which is a possibility. So we'll see. It'll be a good test for Penn State's defense week 1, which finished second nationally in total defense. Returns defensive, and Abdul Carter will be with have a chip on his shoulder on the defensive end. So offensively, this should be an extremely good test for a second-year quarterback for Penn State. Drew Allard, the signal caller, finished 4th in the Big Ten in passing with 2,631, threw for second most touchdowns with 25, and just had 2 interceptions. But the thing, Allard is a pretty good QB, so he finished with some of the lowest completion percentage of games on the road last season, which was their downfall, like at Illinois, with under 50%. So the thing, he should be more comfortable leading this Penn State offense, which boosts returning backs. So I think that's a good look to have. And if Penn State wants to get a road win, Allard playing well will be crucial, in my personal opinion. West Virginia just had one game at home last season versus Oklahoma State in October. We'll see if the Mountaineers can continue their trend of playing well at home on Saturday. So we'll just have to see. And another crucial game, fellas, at 3:30 in the afternoon, we got the University of Florida and Miami at 3:30 on Saturday. So, this will be a good one, fellas. These two Florida schools were once nationally college football powerhouses. So don't play with each other often, but the last 2 times these teams met in 2019 and 2013, the games were decided by less than 7 points, man. So we'll have to see. If it feels like Saturday's matchup will be just as close. Florida has struggled in Billy Napier's first 2 seasons in Gainesville, finished below 500. So as the third-year head coach enters in 2024 squarely on the hot seat, beating a top 25 in-state foe. So that'll be interesting. Would be a great start to the season. Miami head coach is also in need of a breakout season, going 12-13 over the last 2 years, which is not going to cut it in college football today. So both coaches hope that some much-needed additions from transfer portal will translate to on-field success this season for Miami. The biggest name for the Hurricanes added this offseason is quarterback Cam Ward. The signal caller spent last 2 seasons at Washington State. So, he played over there for a little bit. But he did throw 6,968 yards with 48 touchdowns, but 16 interceptions. Ward briefly declared for the draft, but ultimately ended up in Miami. So the thing is, Ward will be playing behind an offensive line that allowed just 16 sacks last season, the second fewest in the ACC. So Miami has a good offensive line for Cam Ward to succeed. So he'll also have plenty of weapons around him as Miami gets back receiver Xavier Restrepo and adding receivers Sam Brown and running back Damian Martinez from the portal. So that's a really good look. So Florida returns quarterback Graham Mertz from last season, who led the SEC in completion percentage last season with just about 73%. So the Gators return leading running back Montrell Johnson Jr. and added receiver Elijah Badger from the transfer portal. So this will be an interesting matchup. Both offenses are bringing some serious firepower. This game should turn into a shootout. Florida may have the edge with the home crowd backing the defense, but Miami has more experience, running 59% of its returning production from last season. If Florida can pull off a Sunshine State upset, the Gators could crack the top 25, I think. And so this will be an extremely cool matchup to see. And the matchup I'm ready to see at nighttime, the prime game on Saturday, 7:30. We got Texas A&M and Notre Dame. Top 25 matchup. I'm extremely excited for this. So this is going to be the game of the day, in my opinion. So yes, I know Las Vegas doesn't really consider this an upset, but I do personally. So, but a top 10 playoff contender in Notre Dame losing on the road, week 1 to a non-conference opponent would be pretty significant, man. So, the thing is with Texas A&M will look to start the 2024 season on a high note under first-year head coach Mike Elko, the former Texas A&M defensive coordinator from 2018 to 2021. So is hoping to have a big season like he did his first season at Duke in 2022. Elko led the Blue Devils to a 9-4 record, the first 9-win season in Durham since 2014. So, the Aggies have a talented quarterback in Connor Wilgman. So, under center, the former 5-star quarterback prospect has thrown 1,875 yards with, 16 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. So, in 9 games over the last 2 seasons. Last season, he was named Texas A&M starter, but suffered a season injury, foot injury in late September. He is expected to have the best season yet in 2024 under new Aggies offensive coordinator Colin Klein. So we'll just have to see how Texas A&M's offense is with their new system, So the thing is, Notre Dame, meanwhile, enters 2024 as a legitimate playoff team. Although the Irish have to replace plenty of talent from last year's 10-3 team. So they should have experienced defense. The unit will be led by returning starters quarterback Benjamin Morrison, linebacker Jake Kaiser, and defensive tackle Howard Cross III. So this game will be very interesting, man. So, interesting quarterback storyline in Notre Dame signal caller Riley Leonard. Leonard transferred to South Bend after spending the first 3 seasons at Duke, playing for Elko the last 2 years. He missed several games last season while dealing with injuries, but he had the best season of his career in 2022, throwing for just short of 3,000 yards and 20 interceptions. And 6 interceptions, added 700 yards with 13 scores on the ground. A road loss really to Notre Dame out of the playoffs, won't knock them out of the hunt. So we'll just have to see. But it means they can't afford to have too many more losses down the road eventually. So, and then I got Sunday's matchup. We got USC versus LSU. At 7:30 on Sunday night. So we'll see how this one goes. USC and LSU entered the 2024 season with some of the very similar circumstances. Both of these teams enter with the third-year head coach looking to make a big leap. Neither Lincoln Riley nor Brian Kelly have produced a playoff team yet. Starting the season, man. So off with with a win and so to help them, help. This game is crucial for both head coaches. So, ironically, both LSU and USC also have new starting quarterbacks in the new season of college football. The Trojans transfer Miller Moss threw for 372 yards with 6 touchdowns and an interception in his first start with the Holiday Bowl versus Louisville. So, hey, that's a good that's a good start. So, but in 2023, he notched for 395 yards and 3 touchdowns with an interception in the bowl game over Wisconsin. Whichever signal caller has a better night could, be crucial, be a key factor in winning the game. So I really think that's a good look when we're looking at that aspect. LSU returns about 60% of its returning production on offense, and USC only has 50%. But we'll just have to see what happens here. So, Riley hired a new defensive coordinator who helped UCLA finish with a top 15 defense last season. LSU hired, they hired Blake Baker from Mizzou. Mizzou gave up 21 points per game last season, tied 25th, I think. So, if USC gets a win over LSU, it could vault the Trojans into the playoff mix. The Trojans have to face Michigan, Penn State, Notre Dame, and the rest of the season. For LSU, a loss might costly for its playoff hope. They got to deal with Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Oklahoma this season. So we'll just have to see who do you guys think is going to get upset at week 1 from these takes, or do you have other teams you think that will get upset? I don't believe Clemson is going to upset Georgia. I just think Georgia's too good of a team this year, too much talent for Clemson. They'll be overwhelmed. I got Georgia by plus 17 points in that game. So we'll just have to see. What do you guys think about this? I think it's a very interesting week. We got good games majority of the day Saturday, and then we got that game Sunday. That's going to be a good one as well. So we'll just have to see in time. So, hey, this is going to be a good look. It's going to be a fun weekend, this win of college football, man. I'm extremely excited. I'm pretty sure most of you are as well, to start the season off on a good note. I hope all your teams, man, get the W to start off the year right, man. So we'll just have to see in time. But if you like this video, subscribe to the content. Hey, I'm loving doing it, and as this as a family, man. Hey, and I'm out. Peace out, fellas.